I was ready. What's good? Oh, you did.
Yeah.
A dynasty in motion, reshaping the sport's greatest tradition, channeling the legends of his line and surpassing them. 4 of the last 6 Derby winners carry his genes. A Golden Son, a Horse of the Year. Another chapter written beneath those iconic spires. Derby dreams fulfilled for the titans of our industry. From authentic to sovereignty, a legacy both real and supreme. Into mischief.
Hello and welcome to the In the Money Media Breeders' Cup 2025 Final Answers Show. Peter Thomas Fornatale back with you from the Pacific Coast Grill in Cardiff, California. Just a couple furlongs from the finish line at Del Mar, joined by an absolutely fantastic team. We have a terrific, I'm going to say, 68-minute show scheduled for you. It's going to probably go 70. 2 minutes won't be so good, but the other 68 will be worth tuning in for. I am alongside my business partner in the Money Media. You know him from such shows as America's Day at the Races on Fox. He is Jonathon Kinchen. JK, what's up?
Let's do it.
He's pumped. And here's the other really good news. You don't have me as your host. I get to sit in the guest chair today as we bring in our hostess with the mostest, Vanessa Ryle, coming to us from down the block now. But obviously, if you're a fan of UK racing at all, you know her. And we've been lucky to have her on In the Money Media over the last few years. And then the fourth member of our panel, a man who has become indispensable to the In the Money team, whether it's the work he does covering international racing all year long or the fabulous insights he brings with us at the Breeders' Cup, Michael Adolphson. Michael, how are you?
Things are going well. I'm glad to be on this side of the world. Looking forward to it. Let's rock on.
That's good. All right. So with that, I will hand over to Vanessa. I will be giving various shout outs to sponsors throughout this show, including our friends at Spendthrift. Thank you so much to them for sponsoring the show. Also, our friends at Twin Spires, which is a place you can play the Breeders' Cup Betting Challenge this year. If you're not going to be involved in the Breeders' Cup Betting Challenge, tell you what, there's another major handicapping contest coming right down the pike. That's the Kentucky Derby Betting Challenge. You can qualify on Twin Spires. Go to twinspires.com. And then navigate over to the tournaments page for more. And with no more ado, I will hand you over to your official host for the evening, Vanessa Ryle.
Well, thank you very much. I'm trying to ignore the fact that you and JK look like you're sat in a toilet together, sort of like a sort of couple's toilet.
Well, see, you were the smart one who didn't come to this lunch that.
So,
Look, it's all blown out behind us, but I'm going to just try to show you the beautiful description that we had hoped to show. But as it turned out, that's not a very good camera shot. So instead, we decided to relocate in the loo.
Okay.
So it's the loo shot. It's the loo shot, and I'm here for it. And I don't know why I'm laughing. If you could see where I'm currently filming, as I said to you before we started recording, this is definitely the location of many a pornography video throughout the years. So, bet you weren't expecting that in the old final answers, were you, Michael? Right. Okay, let's dive straight in. The key and the clue is in the title here. No more head in the hands, Peter. No more head in the hands. I'm a professional. No, the key is in the title. It's final answers. This is enough of the chit chat. We want winners. We want to know how these races are going to play out. We're obviously kicking off with Friday with the juveniles, and we are starting with the juvenile turf sprint. And Michael, I'm coming straight to you here. I find this fascinating. I find True Love in this fascinating. I find the fact Aiden's dropping her down in trip, running a filly in this race. I find the whole thing really interesting. And then since I've got here and I've got the ear to the ground, apparently that decision is all based upon the fact that there's no point running her against Precise because Precise is a certainty. Do you feel that this is the race for True Love?
No, she would have won the juvenile fillies turf.
Of course she would. Yes.
She was the quintessential horse they usually take to that race. I don't know why they're running the other one, but they split them up. It might bite them in the ass, and I hope it does because the value is elsewhere. And I find it right on the rail. 1 and 2, Brussels Military Code. And I'm going to play, final answer, give me a minute, but I'm going to play the best price I can get on the day, if I'm going to be honest. But if I'm choosing right now, I think Military Code's going to run his eyeballs out. And I think he's going to sit back mid-pack and make a nice run there. But Brussels, I'm very afraid of because I think Christophe Soumillon, he didn't choose him because he wanted him. He chose him because of the weight. He can't make the 119 the filly has to carry, right?
Yeah.
If he rode her, I don't think he loses. I don't think Wayne Lorden's nearly as effective. And drawing the rail, if you want an aggressive rider from Europe, you got it. You know what I mean? Like Christophe he's not messing around. So I worry about him a little bit, especially on a big horse that could maybe bump military code. But talking to Charlie today, he said military code needs to be bumped around. He likes to be in a fight. He likes it lights him up, and he's going to get that. And I feel like he's sitting on the only Charlie Appleby horse who will be of any value, and I think he can win.
Okay, bold shout and favouring the rail, 1 and 2, Brussels in 1, military code being the key there in 2. Okay, so JK, let's bring you in then. Like, are we against the favourite here? Are we against True Love?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think this is a move that Europe hasn't necessarily tried yet, bringing over like a grade 1 winning, like real horse to try to win this race. I'm going to play this race in the Breeders' Cup Betting Challenge, and I'm going to play it where I think there's 2 American horses that can win and 2 European horses that can win. I'm going to use Havana Anna. I'm going to use True Love. Vanessa, we talked a little bit about how Havana Anna probably lays out a little bit better for this spot, but I believe True Love's class is a little sneaky, and I understand it's a flat 5. The one thing about the flat 5 is they run in front of you. They run because no one has the fear of going too fast, going a flat 5. Schwarzenegger is going to be a runoff. The rest of them are going to go quick. I think True Love just might be one of those horses that's like in hand, gallops up and runs by them all when they're tired late. But there's 2 Americans I'll use, Cy-Fair and Lenny Lou. I'll talk a little bit about Cy-Fair. I think most people know about Lenny Lou, considering the fact that she was second to True Love at Ascot. Cy-Fair, to me, I thought her debut was sensational. She had a weird trip in her second start. She came back, had trouble, took back, ran around horses, ran a fast figure that day. And George Weaver's, I could give you the real stat, but who cares? He's winning at like 45%, 50% with 2-year-olds on the grass in the last couple of years. Maybe it's an exaggeration. I don't care. Look it up if you don't believe me. It's really good.
Pete, you were nodding along there in agreement.
Well, I'm a little bit Michael. I'm a little bit JK, but I do have another one I want to nominate as just a horse.
Time to get off the fence, Pete. You can't be with us all. You can't be with us all.
All right. Well, then I'll go my own way and talk for a moment about number 7, Mission Central, a horse that I just think might be really suited by flying around Del Mar, held up off a fast pace. And I love, no offense to previous riders, but I love the switch to Colin Keane for Mission Central. But in terms of, other horses that I think are interesting, Havana Anna on my list, as is the 2-runner we were talking about before, Military Code. I'm going to try to mess around with those 3 and see if we can get a little bit of a price in here against True Love, who may well win. I just don't get any value at the prices.
Okay. Interesting. I'm Havana Anna for what it's worth, but JK already knows that. I'm all aboard the Havana Anna train. So that means we've got about nearly the whole field covered in the first. So excellent. Good start, guys. Really confusing everyone. Love it. Right. Juvenile fillies up next. And in here, we have the rematch between Tommy Joe and Percy's Bar. Obviously switched around the steward's room when we last saw them clash at Keeneland. JK, is it going to be the same sort of result this time around?
Yeah, look, I was too impressed with what Tommy Joe did in Saratoga. I will say this. I think that the short stretch 2-year-old grade 1s that happen at Keeneland can be a little bit tricky from a figure standpoint. So while I was a little disappointed how the figure dropped, Tommy Joe ran fast twice. Fast twice, slow once. I'm going to believe the fast twice. I think she'll be tough in here. It's not a love affair that I have with her. I think she's going to be really good. She'll be my top choice, but I want to just mention Meaning. Very unexposed. Are you impressed with that, Vanessa?
Good UK usage.
Yeah, very unexposed in her form.
It really gets me going, that chat. Love it.
Yeah, just very unexposed.
You're in the right hotel.
No, but I don't know who she is yet. I know who Michael McCarthy is, and he's not the type of guy that's going to jam a horse into a spot they don't belong in. She's obviously got some talent. She'll be a forgotten price. I'll use her underneath. But for me, Tommy Joe, as long as she just goes straight and not taking a little left-handed turn.
Yeah, that's going to be key. I love something we speak about a lot, all joking aside, with the unexposed angle with meaning. It's like punters tend to sometimes, and maybe wrongly, Michael, lean in to the potential rather than the proven of horses. You know, it's that there's something about horses' potential that gets punters going a bit more than sometimes proven form in the book. I often think that.
But then you also have a horse in this race that really piques my interest that has kind of a Venn diagram of both, has shown great potential, but also in that, you know, in a very short amount of time, and comes out of a maiden race. But within that maiden race, got more education than any other horse that I've seen in this field, and that's Super Corridora. She's coming in at a big price. She's 16-1 in the UK market. She's probably going to go off 12 to 15 because it's Sadler in California. She comes in with the fastest two-turn Ragozin in the field. And if you watch that race, she learned a lot in that maiden race around 2 turns going a mile. She had to jump heels, or she basically had to jump heels around the first bend, and it was in between horses. With a lot of confidence, and kicked on at the end to run a nice 12. And I think if she moves forward off that, and Sadler is definitely a student of the numbers, he expects her to back it up and run it again. She's coming in with a huge amount of value. So I'm going to take a big, massive swing in the juvenile fillies.
Super Cadora, yeah, big price currently. 16s, as you say, on the UK markets as we talk now, anti-post sort of wise. Peter, do you want to add anyone else into the mix before we move on?
I like the idea of trying to find a price in here, and I'll mention a third one, and that's the 9 runner Lawali. This one has been in behind Explora in the last couple of starts, but I think there's an opportunity for this one to turn that around. I think the way this race is going to be run, she's going to be held up. I think she could come running late and be another one to spoil the party at a big price. But I think that I am also going to be messing around with both the runners, the pricey runners that the team suggested in Super Corridora and also Meaning. I get them all, and my original take on this race was that a price was going to win it. I think those are the 3 prices to mess around with in your picks.
Like it. Michael agreeing as well. If you're watching on video, the finger was wagging there. The finger of approval. I liked it. Okay, we move on. Juvenile Fillies Turf, all aboard Precise, Michael. Saw her this morning. She's like flying around there, having a lovely time. She's a diddly little thing, isn't she? She doesn't quite look like maybe what you want. Well, no, not what you want, but, you know, she's not a true love, is she? Let's be honest. But she's drawn out in 13. They keep talking about her as if she's the second coming. Are we all aboard the Precise trade?
No.
Nice.
I mean, I think she's to beat. She's drawn outside. I don't think that hurts her necessarily. I just would prefer a filly that's a little bit less green in her performances to come over here and run well around a track like this. Lake Victoria was a damn pro when she got here. As you saw in all of her races, she was absolutely straightforward, push the button and go. Is Precise going to be that game, that into the race, or is she going to have way too much to do? I mean, for me, if I'm looking anywhere else, I'm looking for 2 horses that are big values in here. I think Queen of Hawaii is drawn extremely well and has done nothing wrong, but she has to step up in a big way for Joseph.
She does.
But she's incredibly, you know, on the numbers, even on the rags numbers, she's a player. And she's drawn well down inside. And every race, if you watch, she just wants to win. She wants to put her head in front. And she's ridden with a lot of confidence. So there's some pluses there. But I'm actually, in the end, I've been super impressed with the Japanese filly all week. I did not like how she looked on day 1, but then day 2, 3, and 4, she looks like a racehorse. First contrail I've seen in person, a little bit slight, but she's definitely a grass horse. And I went back and watched the videos of her races. She's got a little bit of pace. She's going to put herself in the race. And I feel like at a value for the same exact owner, trainer, but not the jockey, of Love's Only You, who made me a shit ton of money a few years ago, I'm going to go back to the source and be like, all right, these silks are not coming here for fun. And talking to my Japanese friends, these ownership group, they wouldn't come unless they thought shot.
I like that. They're not just coming for the holiday, Michael, as we would say. They're not just here for the scenery.
And quick follow up on her. She does have a lot of substantial Breeders' Cup in her pedigree. She's a granddaughter of Switch, who was 3 times out of a Galileo mare. She was 3 times placed in the filly mare sprint. Contra obviously is a grandson of Folklore, who won the Juvenile fillies. This is a serious pedigree. This is a serious horse, a serious trainer. The trainer's only brought 3 horses over. 2 of them have won. He brought 3 this year. He's not messing around.
Okay. Well, in that case, guys, Peter, we'll kick off with you because we've covered a bit of the UK and Irish contingent, and Michael's obviously gone for the Japanese in here, but we haven't mentioned Time to Dream and Imagination the Lady. Pete, we can kick off with you here. Are you abandoning the home team?
I kind of am, yeah. I do want to say that was a very compelling case that Michael made for the 6-runner Switch in Love in this spot. But for me, I'm looking more towards the European contingent in this spot, with the one that's of the most interest to me being number 12 Pacific Mission. Just has a great progressive profile. The price is too big. The 2 Queen of Hawaii, another just interesting long shot. One of the games I play in these Breeders' Cup races is to just sort of look at the PPs. I'm the old man of this bunch by some way, and as such, like a real student of past performance. I've seen a lot of handicapped, many moons worth of Breeders' Cup races, and you come to just sometimes look at a horse's PP cut and say that looks like a Breeders' Cup winner potentially, and I really do think that could be the case with a runner like number 2, Queen of Hawaii. Not the most high profile of the Europeans, but one that could win. I'm not leaving Precise out of my pick bets in this spot, but I had more interest in those other 2 that we talked about, the 12 Pacific Mission and the 2 Queen of Hawaii.
Yeah, Queen of Hawaii, just, the Joseph, he's got such a traditional Joseph look about the profile, sort of gets beaten on the debut, progresses nicely with every run, still improvement to come. He's always playing the long game with them. I like it. I do like it. And last line to you, JK, here. I mean, the hype around Precise in regards to what Aidan's been saying, like Peter's just said, he can't leave her out. Are you the same?
Yeah, it's funny. I wanted to be against her to a certain extent. I was a Lake Victoria stan last year, and based on her profile, I wanted to be against her. But then here's the thing: I don't have a strong opinion in the race. What I do with these races, typically with these Europeans, is I listen to people like the 2 of you who follow it a lot. I listen. You guys are famous on the flight I was over on the way over. People were looking over my shoulder, wondering who the hell both of you were on my YouTube channel while I was watching it. Nick Luck and a bunch of other folks. I listen to interviews. I'll listen to Charlie Appleby and talk. I can dissect trainer. I'll listen to Aidan talk. I can dissect trainer. When people like Aidan O'Brien, Bob Baffert, Todd Pletcher, Chad Brown, Brad Cox start saying this might be one of the best we've ever had, what am I going to try to figure out? I don't know. I'm going to single her in picks. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I wasn't going to find the other one anyways, and I'm going to move on. This is not going to be a serious, hardcore play for me in the Breeders' Cup betting challenge. I do think this, from American standpoint, Time to Dream is going to be completely overbet off that trouble, which I don't even know if you want to call it trouble. You might want to just call it like someone was in her way for a second. Yeah, I'm going to be ice cold in multi-race wagers. If Aidan, I heard it with Matt Chapman today. He said, and Matt tried to pull him up, and he came back again and said this might be one of the best fillies we've ever had. There's no equity in Aidan saying that at this point. He has enough horses, and he's got the support of big operations. Yeah, but we've been here before with Aidan. And one last thing, though. I will say this, too. The hit at a bomb theory as well, where she's going to drift up because she's so poorly drawn. They ignored hit at a bomb when he was in the 14 at Keeneland, and he galloped. And I think the same thing could happen here. She might drift just a taste more than she should because she's drawn so poorly.
I know. I was sort of, when I saw the draw, everyone was like, oh no, poor Precise. And in my head, I was thinking, it kind of makes it a bit more spicy. It gives us something to talk about. But really, can she overcome it? The people seem to think she can. Right. We move on, guys. We move on to the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, and Ted Noffey looks to continue his unbeaten run here. Obviously, he's 3 from 3 so far. Saw him this morning, Michael. I saw him this morning. He trotted past me, and I thought, yeah, looks nice, but then I realized I'm not the person for this.
On numbers, on the eye, he shouldn't lose. I mean, and Todd's proven it. He's brought him over before and won in California, which is another concern with some trainers from the East Coast. But I mean, I see no value in it at all. I mean, and it'll tell you if there's no value, I'm out. But then I'm gonna go back on that later like an idiot. But yeah, if I'm looking at value in this race, to get to the point, I like Mr. AP to run a big one. He's run 2 straight 10s on the rags. I think he'll run forward off of that into the 8s category, which means he can win this race if anything happens to Ted Noffey. You know, like if anything at all happens to Ted Noffey, I think he'll be sitting pretty. And he's a horse with a nice 2-turn win last time. The maiden he lost beforehand was to a really nice horse in Christofferson. So like this is a good horse. It's going to be way overlooked for Vladimir Sterin. Good friend of mine rides him as well in Antonio Fresu, who's a hell of a jockey. And I just think that rides Del Mar better than almost anyone right now. So I just think it's going to be a big swing, but I'm going to go after it just because I'm not playable unless you single him. I am going to single him on at least one ticket. I'm not an idiot. But I am going to have a ticket on the side that has Mr. AP in there because I'm not letting him beat me off the fact that he has the 2 fastest non-Ted Noffey numbers coming in.
Non-Ted Noffey numbers. I like that. As a host of these things, when you throw it to somebody and they give like a valid and honest case for currently a 66-1 shot on the UK market, it's anti-post. That's just like, oh, it's like catnip. It's like, yes, give it to me, shoot it into my veins. I love it.
I know I sound crazy, but just watch his races, look at his form. It's not what it looks like on top. Like this is a good horse, and this is a decent trainer. So
I'm here for it, Michael. As I said, hook it into my veins. You can't beat that. You can't beat that, JK, unfortunately, because he's the outsider currently of the field. But how are you playing it?
Yeah, you know, it's funny. I the last 2 years in the BCBC, I've no, not 2 years. 2 of the last 3 years, I went all in the Juvenile and lost. I went all in on Cave Rock and lost, and then I went all in on Timberlake and lost. I got away from it last year. I went all in the Juvenile fillies turf with Lake Victoria and won. Ted Noffey feels like one I want to do that with, but I'm just a little gun shy. I will say this: on paper, he looks right, but I'm not one who has any opinion of how they move. Like they got 4 legs and a tail. Like I'm good with that. That checks out for me. The way he ran away from horses in his last race, I could visually tell how well he was going. I'll have a big bet on him to win. Just because I don't need any of these other horses. And no offense to Michael's point with Mr. AP, I put a red circle around it as one I'll use underneath purely out of respect for the case. But he's not – I'm fine making a large bet and a contest standpoint on Ted Noffey and letting the rest of it unfold. He'll be ice-cold singled in my multi-race wagers as well, him and Precise. I'm keeping the powder dry, Vanessa. I got some strong opinions on Saturday.
You can keep the powder as dry as you like, JK. It's absolutely fine. We're here for it. Last line to you, Pete, here.
Ted Noffey, I'm going to run 80%, 70 to 80% of my money through. I think the draw is ideal. Been so impressed with this Spendthrift Farm color bearer so far. I've been a fan since before the first race when we talked about him on one of our baby talk shows. But I do want to talk for a half a second at least. I mean, Brandt deserves a call on these airwaves, and you know, he has shown potential. I'll have a little bit of money through him. The more interesting one to me on balance is Blackout Time, and here I'm gonna tie this in to a commercial to one of our sponsors, because funny enough, you can actually buy shares in Blackout Time right now through our friends at morningline.io. So I will have the littlest bit of Blackout Time in my pick bets. I thought it was fascinating how hard he was bet into the teeth of Ted Noffey last time. I think you can make a case that he's going to come forward again. But rather than spend too much money on him, I'm going to go over to morningline.io/ITM and buy a couple of shares in this horse because I do think he's got a really interesting future. But as for what I expect to see on Saturday, Mainly, it's going to be Ted Nafi. I'm going to be throwing in Michael's Mr. AP underneath as well, out of respect to a good case. But in terms of who's going to actually win the race, it's supposed to be Ted Nafi.
Yeah,
it is. It's supposed to be, but it doesn't always go that way, does it?
No, it doesn't.
Real quick, Blackout Time will be a grass horse. Sorry, that's what's going to happen.
You think so? Ultimately, he'll end up there?
Yes.
Interesting. There, you heard it here first. Right, Juvenile Turf, last race to wrap up on the Friday. Gustard is your current market leader on the anti-post markets, from outfielder for Wesley Ward in there. And then you've got a couple of other, Ardisia in there is interesting me for Hugo Palmer at a big price, actually. Didn't see Ardisia this morning. I missed him somehow, but has that form with the aforementioned Mission Central and is stepping up in trip here, which I think is going to be a big benefit. Michael Heath, for me, is, I think, he's a place selection in this race for me. I think he's been overlooked in the market, and I'm sort of keen to get away from Gustard. I don't like that always the bridesmaid profile we've got coming in here with this horse.
No, he's run winning races. He's lost head bobs. You know what I mean? Like, it's not. I don't think it's that he's being. I don't think he's being disheartened or he doesn't have the will to win in Gustard. So I'm going to fillet the chalk here for the first time today and just go with it. I think he's the best horse in the race. I saw him bucking and kicking today, but not in a way that would make you nervous. He's feeling really damn good off that plane, and he looks phenomenal. Outside, I don't mind him. I like that a little more than being in between horses where he might get boxed around and shuffled back. He's going to have options. He has a little pace if he wants to use it. And Christoph's not afraid to be a little aggressive. I think underneath of him, there are horses that the two horses that really jump off to me. I think Hey Nay Nay is going to run big. I think he just suits. He's very much an Ironman Cal type of situation, and probably a little bit better than that horse. And North Coast, I think will run very well if he goes to his run two back, and might be a nice value for those of you who are just looking for. If you think my chalk is copping out and going against my brand, North Coast would be the one that I would play otherwise.
Okay. All right. JK, I'm coming to you next, I think, here. Yes, JK.
Yeah, for the sake of timing, I don't have a strong opinion here. I won't be involved in the contest. From a pick five standpoint, I'll probably try to use 100 of them if I can. Because I do think that is it Gustad or Stad? I don't know. I'm not going to try to be too cute to pronounce.
Well, as Rishi Prasad told me this morning, hopefully he doesn't win, so we don't have to keep saying his name.
Okay, good. So, the horse whose name is weird. To me, what I hear, like I told you guys, I listen to opinions and I meld them into my brain and try to come up with something. I've heard from like 4 people that he was rank. So for me, rank drawn outside means no cover, or in behind in rank. And at odds on, that's a play against. I think he's the best on paper, and sure, he could probably win. But I think there's some value trying to beat him. I'll use as many as I can. I will say this: I'm going to pick the 11 or the 10 on top, and I don't really know why. I'm just picking the 10. If you are one of the people who likes the 12 Botas or Botas, whatever, don't you have to like the one? Here's Johnny.
They finished in a heap, that's for sure. I mean, I hear where you're going with that. And one of the best named horses. And another one, what a great excuse to give another sponsor shout out to our friends at Mill Ridge who raised Here's Johnny, the son of Oscar Performance.
Oh, nicely done.
And our lunchmate, Ray Handel, who's still downstairs, I think.
Check you out. You're just such a company man, Peter. You're just such a company man. Did you want to add anything else to this race before we move on?
Yeah, I'll talk about this one for a second because I respect Stad, and I think you've got to use him in picks. I love Michael's idea about North Coast. I'm with him on that. But I actually made outfielder my top pick in this race. Got to remember when this one was, ahead of Ascot, so well fancied as Ward's best 2-year-old in God knows however long. You look at the striding data, going long makes sense for this horse. And I just love the fact that, like, in the winner's circle after the last race, he was talking about how he wants this horse to go long. I think he makes a ton of sense in here. A little bit of a pattern that reminds me of Hootenanny back in the day with a big run in the morning, and then coming to the Breeders' Cup, stretching out and winning. I want outfielder on my tickets as well.
Okay, like that, yeah. Right, let us move on. Let us move on to the big day. the big day on Saturday. You don't have anything to throw in here, Pete, advert-wise, before we move on? We just go.
We'll just thank the lot again. One of the reasons we can bring so much great free racing content is the support of our sponsors. So Spendthrift Farm, our friends over at Millridge Farm, morningline.io/ITM. Just want to give them a big shout out and thank you for all the support that they've given us so we can continue to bring you all this great free content.
Beautifully done. Beautifully. Right, on we go to the filly and mare sprint, the first Breeders' Cup race on the Saturday over the 7 furlongs, of course. And Sweet Azteca is a current anti-post favourite for this. And actually, Michael, as I was sort of like prepping for all things Breeders' Cup, you end up down one of those bloody YouTube rabbit holes. Anything can happen down there. But I did fall upon Sweet Azteca and some work, some work clips and some commentary in and around her work. And they were sort of waxing lyrical about this faster piece she did and then this more recent bit she did where she was much calmer than they thought she was going to be. And all of a sudden, I'm down this Sweet Azteca rabbit hole and I'm thinking to myself, I don't even bet these races, but now should I just get aboard her?
No. I mean, I think she's her fastest numbers when she's not going to get as hounded as she's going to be this week. Her really fast numbers are quick enough to win this, and they should. But I just think that, with 3 Bafferts in there, at least 2 of them are going to beat the shit out of her on the front end. And there's just no way around it. And for me, I looked at the pace scenario, I looked at the horses that were fast enough when they ran their optimal numbers and who's going to be set up and get their proper ride. And I look at this and I see massive value in Splendora. I think that she's a filly that they've always thought highly of. If you go back to her La Brea back in the day, she ran huge against Copion. I mean, she's a good filly, and she runs fast enough to win this race. This is probably my least favorite race, along with the Dirt Mile, of the entire Breeders' Cup, because it's basically a glorified supplementary contest, and it's restricted. So it's not that exciting, and this is not a good field. But I do think Splendora has upside, and she's coming out of a huge win. She's fast enough to win this. And I just think that at 12-1 on the international market, she's going to be 8-1 probably in the U.S. getting some Baffert money. Yeah, I'm gonna and Flavian Dan Pratt is on her. I'm gonna trust that he's gonna run a good race.
I'm enjoying there's been some excellent turn of phrases on this show already. Some real standout quotes. I'm loving it. I'm feeling it. I feel like we've all been drinking. It's great. Splendora is currently the outsider of the 3 Bob Baffert horses, as you touched upon, Michael, on those international markets. So that is interesting because obviously people will latch on to the Bob Baffert 3 in this race, and you're going for Splendora. Pete, you were kind of nodding and looking enthusiastic there. Was that in agreement with Splendora or agreement with the fact you don't like the race?
No, well, it was more if you had to rank Breeders' Cup races. I do think it's a good field, but I think Michael's point is correct that there are some Breeders' Cup races that, hit a little bit harder than others in terms of, thinking back to the original lineup. It was probably more in my ambivalence about a race like the Dirt Mile, in truth, than this race. But it is restricted, and it does, it doesn't hit the way some of the others do. But it's an interesting contest. I mean, look, I have seen the other Baffert win plenty of races, but for me, I was a little bit more master of the obvious in here. I take the point that Sweet Azteca isn't going to be great value. I do want her on horizontal tickets based on her best bits of form. I was really impressed with Hope Road, I guess the main Baffert, you could say, in the back in Saratoga on the Travers undercard. I think a repeat of that race makes her go close. But I'm going to make a case for Tamara here, the number 4 filly. Has this amazing pedigree, of course, and I was a huge fan, thinking she was going to win the Juvenile fillies 2 years ago, reinvented as a sprinter. I just think that last race was maybe a little bit better than what the Beyer speed figure came back, given how well the one to come back and run out of that race did. And she's just got to move forward profile-wise. In Mandela, we trust. Tamara for me on top.
Yeah, I'll just pick up. My opinion here is that I don't need Sweet Azteca. All of her 6.5 furlong races, it feels like she's slowing down. At a short price, I don't necessarily need her going longer. Tamara, as far as I'm concerned, her 2-year-old number that she earned in the Del Mar debutante, that race as a 2-year-old,
as over course and distance,
probably beats almost everything in this field's races that a majority of them have run this year. So I like her quite a bit. I'll use her second, but I think Hope Road is just too fast. Her ballerina was sensational. If she runs that race again, she feels to me like, of course I'm going to go blank now because I didn't write it down. The filly that won at Keeneland for Bob.
Marley's Freedom?
No. Same silks, though, I think. Whatever. It doesn't matter. I'll think about it in a second. And she's just better than these other horses. I think Hope Road will win. But I think Tamara will make her earn it.
Okay, JK, I'm going to stick with you then as we move on to the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint. Second race on the card on Saturday. And Notorious, go one place better. Oh, you're wincing. You're wincing.
Because I almost had the horse in my head and I forgot it now. I'll get it. I'll get it before I finish. Yeah, so I like a price in here. Probably the biggest price that I like the entire weekend that I'll pick on top. And before I get to that, I will say that I think Notorious is super live in here. I think that AG Bullet live, She's So Spicy live, but I love Bring the Band Home. This horse ran 2 races, both races at Saratoga this summer. Absolutely win this race. But there's that dirty form from the race up at up at Woodbine when they're running on the inner turf course. The horse didn't run that well. That was a little bit problematic, but I'm going to forgive that race. I think Bring the Band Home offers a ton of value in this one.
Ooh, interesting. Very interesting. Currently a big price, on the anti-post market currently. So far, JK, you've used the word rank, earlier, dirty form as well. In a minute, you're going to throw in the term moist and you'll get the sort of trifecta out of dreadful words to describe races as. Do you know what I mean? If I was doing a Cheltenham Festival preview show back home, those words to describe horses would have been 1,000 to 1. 1,000 to 1. Be thrown in here. But anyway, I'm loving it. Bring the Band Home, big price for the Mark Cassillard and JK obviously keen. Pete, you're waving as if you either want me or you're waving to somebody else. They're leaving the toilet, are they?
I was giving JK the thumbs up for solving the fact that our computer was about to die, but he's got us plugged in and we're ready to rock and roll now. I was going to look to the foreign contingent in this spot. I mean, JK's mentioned Bring the Band Home so many times that I feel like I need to squeeze that one in on some tickets, but She's Quality was one that I was very interested in this spot. Arizona Blaze, another invader at much less of a price that I just thought was utterly logical. AG Bullet, super much one that just makes sense, looks like a winner of this race. These were the 3 I was looking at mostly. It's a wide open race, not a place I'm looking to plant a flag, but I do want to mess around and try to catch a price.
Yeah, I get that. Arizona Blaze is an obvious one off the back of finally getting that Group 1 victory over in Ireland when we last saw him, and deserved as well. Deserved because he kind of been knocking on the door a little bit and in there pitching with some of the bigger guns, and then finally, he's got that Group 1. So I was pleased for him, and obviously same connections have Buccanero Forte in here, and then She's Quality for Jack Davison. I mean, it's an Irish bias, Michael. When you're down at that bloody barn, those Irish lot again, they could sell sand to an Arab. They're there and they're pitching She's Quality in there. Can you get a handle on her at all?
I can't get on She's Quality. I don't think she's fast enough when it matters. And I think she's a bit of an almost horse anyway.
Yeah.
She might pick up the pieces and finish a fine 3rd or 4th. But I mean, the 2 ammo horses I think will run very well. Buccanero Fuerte, remember, is a little bit faster early than Arizona Blaze, so he's going to be in better position. Plus, he has a US-based rider on him. I wanted to pick Arizona Blaze on top here. On form, he's the best horse. He should be the favorite. He's 7-1 in the market. Is huge on him. You're probably going to get 5-1, 4-1, maybe in the States on the pari-mutuals. But I just cannot trust, and I like him as a person, but I cannot trust David Egan to be aggressive enough on this horse to get him exactly where he needs to be. You know what I mean? I can't. So I'm just this is a boring selection because I think the horse is going to probably finish second no matter what. But Notorious, he's just going to run his race. His fastest number is the fastest in the race. Good night. He just has to get a clean trip.
Love that. Good night. Good night. Right, we roll on to the Breeders' Cup Sprint, and we've got a rematch here. Rematch of last year, of course. Straight No Chaser taking on Ben Donato in here, and the market favouring the latter currently. Anyway, Michael, I'll kick off with you here because I just find this interesting. They've kind of obviously gone cold on Straight No Chase because of the year he's had, but then Ben Donato is, like we've only seen him the one time, right? So I don't know. Neither of them have that attractive profiles coming in here, really. Sure, are you abandoning those two in the form of 12 months ago for something else?
I mean, no. Yes and no. I mean, Ben Donato, I think, is getting a lot of buzz. He's looking good on the track. He's high energy, blah, 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 blah. He ran a great race last year. They think he's the now horse. But the thing is, when it comes down to it, he looked better on the eye than the number came back in the last race. He ran a 6 on the rag. It looked like a 4. You know what I mean? Like, it looked faster than it was. And that doesn't give me a lot of confidence that he's going to come back and run that race again. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. I mean, you have horses like Imagination who ran a 4 in his last race, a 3 3/4. So he ran super fast. But he's probably going to bounce like a rubber ball. In the end, Straight No Chaser has to come back and prove that age isn't a factor, that all of his ailments aren't a factor. He's probably going to have a perfect setup like last year, sitting back behind them. But screw all that. Copion's the fastest horse in the race. Like, she is. Like, and the thing is, her very best is the very best. And I just don't. Well, here's the funny thing is, I think Tamara's so funny because she's in the filly mare sprint based on promise, not ability. Like, I think that she's always proven she has ability, but they think that she's step up and run a big race at this very top level. She's yet to prove it on the big day. She hasn't had a lot of opportunities, but Sophie, on the other hand, has kept on proving it. And I think that the rail is a blessing. I think she's going to sit there. She's going to break really well. She's going to sit right behind him. Mike's not going to panic. And if she busts through, it's game over.
Okay, game over. JK.
Good night, game over.
Yeah, good night, game over.
Let him continue the Kopi and Love Fest.
Oh, okay, because he's got a little scrunched old face up there. I thought he was about to poo-poo Michael's case, but the opposite's happening.
Some people might think that this opinion has something to do with shout out Spendthrift Farm for sponsoring this video. It has nothing to do with that. Look at my Breeders' Cup betting challenge plays. Hopefully I got money left by the time we get to this race. Here's what I think to Michael's point. If Copian ran the filly and mare sprint, she'd win. If she ran the Distaff, she'd win. She's going to win this race too. I think she's going to be very, very hard to beat. And I just need Mike to work out a trip, and he's done it more than anyone else ever has in the Breeders' Cup, and I'm hoping that he will.
Okay, pretty straightforward then. 2 solid views. Why don't we just get the 3 on the board, Pete, and it be over, game over, good night, as we would say.
Yeah, I can't make it a chorus. I respect Copion, and I'm enough of a figure monkey that off those giant numbers she's run, she won't be beating me in this spot. But I'm team Ben Donato. I mean, I think, Michael's point about the figure that he ran last time, that was, as it was last year, the jumping off point for this. I think he almost has to move forward. And I'm anti-Straight No Chaser as much as I respect him as a horse, as great of a story as he is. That was the easiest trip of the year in the comeback race. And I mean, he was looking for somewhere to lie down at the 8th hole without excuse. I cannot back that race in a spot like this. I'm all about Ben Donato, but out of deference to the figures and the boys, there'll be some Copian backups.
Okay, well then it leads us nicely on, JK, to our next race, the Distaff. We're rattling through this. I'm loving it. This is like punchy opinions and good quotes need only apply. If somebody had the time or the inclination, you could go through this show and just clip up some of the lines that have come out there and just have like a best bits.
Yeah, we would all be fired.
We could get canceled. We could get
that's true.
Michael used a phrase in our semi-viral video the other day that 17 people texted me about, and he then somehow managed to top it.
What did I use the other day? I don't even remember.
I'll say it. Why not? It was balls deep, and you somehow managed to top that. Anyway, sorry, Vanessa.
They're talking about at the grocery store. They have the things. So for me, this spot is more of an anti-opinion. I really don't like Seismic Beauty.
If you like Copion so much, surely the form line, I know the trip, I know it's a different thing, but I thought you were going to be all aboard like that train, as in that form line train, no?
It's so much less about who you run against and the circumstance in which how you ran against them, for me, matters. And I thought that Seismic Beauty just kind of had things her own way. I don't need her at all. And I think there'll be some value trying to beat her. Who am I going to beat her with? I'll give you – I'm going to pick Darth Vader. It doesn't make me warm and fuzzy, and it's not the cutest pick in the world. But I will say Scottish Lassie, I think, is live if she can run back to her coaching club, American Oaks. I love Jorge Abreu. I think he does an outstanding job. He told me at dinner of like 6 days after she ran the coaching club, American Oaks, he was not running in the Alabama. That was the plan the entire time. And I think that maybe she'll improve off of that. I think Nitrogen is super cool. I think she's a gutsy filly that could move forward. And I think Scylla is a horse they've been trying to jam in 7 furlong races because when she was younger, I guess she wasn't finishing her 2-turn races like they wanted her to. So I'm going to try to catch one of those horses. Like I said, Darth Vader will be my top pick, but this is more of a try to beat Seismic Beauty race for me.
Yeah, okay, so really, like you say, the crucial bit being against Seismic Beauty. Do you agree with that, Michael?
I mean, it's so easy to hate Seismic Beauty. Like it's, I mean, she's a really good filly. She should win on paper, but she's not that much faster than them. From the numbers that I evaluate, and I'm looking for something that is, going to move forward in a big way or is run fast enough to figure here. And I just keep on coming back to Scylla. I just think she's going to run well. I just think she ran lights out last year over this course in the filly and mare sprint. And I think that she'll run big again at a nice big value. If there's another horse I'm also looking to run to improve here and hit the board, but probably not win, it's Clico. But especially with Flavian in there, is a very sensible rider for her and won't be putting her in situations she doesn't need to be in, or won't be waving his whip in front of other people's horses' faces. But I do think, Scylla is going to be. I think Scylla is. I'm not the biggest Alvarado fan, but I will say that Scylla is coming into the race right, and I love a second run around 2 turns for her. I think she's going to run lights out.
Interesting. 2 positive nods then to Scylla as well. And Pete, you're enjoying Michael's case.
The man can turn a phrase when it comes to racing. Let's put it that way. Something for everybody when Michael gets going. That's why we love him on these shows. I totally get Scylla and love her as a long shot in this spot. I can also tell you a little bit of a story about number 13 here, Regaled for Whit Beckman. I mean, not only is it great to see some of the lower profile connections competing at the Breeders' Cup, but I mean, that was a really nice run last time. I know it was a short field and in the mud, but this is a horse with a strong late kick. I cannot rule out Regaled for an in-the-frame run at a big price. I'm not as brave as, again, I mentioned it before. I use the term figure monkey, and that it's going to apply to Seismic Beauty too. I get it that, the wise guy is supposed to be against this horse, but the numbers are enough that I'm not leaving her out. But again, funny enough, he left the room, so you don't have to tell him that I agree with him here. I'm with him on Darth Vader just because I do think there's a chance that was still the good Torpedo Anna we saw back in the Personal Ensign. She gave her all she could handle, did Darth Vader, coming here off the kind of layoff that we've seen be very successful in the Breeders' Cup. That's who I put on top. But I'm going to try to have my cake and eat it too. In some horizontal bets, I will have some Seismic Beauty. I'm not going to let her knock me out of things, but I'm with the guys. I'm going to there'll be some Scylla, there'll be some Regaled, there'll be some Darth Vader as well.
There'll be some Scylla love. I like that.
The real quick, I think there's going to be a bit of a pace meltdown in this race, possibly, because remember, Seismic Beauty is going to want the front. Alice Verite botched the start last year. Was supposed to go to the front for Japan, and she's going to go as well. And then you're going to have Jinjin, who's going as well. So we can have 3 fillies going out there, going a little bit quicker. That's the real reason I can't believe I'm a dummy. I didn't mention earlier. It was like that I really like Scylla because she's fast enough to just sit right behind them and be the first one to take advantage of when they crap the bed.
I can see her get a great trip, and I could see Regaled coming late for a piece in this spot at name your price.
Okay. Right, let's move on to one of the big ones, Breeders' Cup Turf. Well, they're all big ones, aren't they? But this is one the Europeans are very much looking forward to, as always. As always, Mini Hawk has been top of this market for quite a long time. Rebels Romance, the legend that is, looking for yet another Group or Grade 1. Goliath in there for France. Amalok in there for Rafe Beckett. He's been making a very solid case for Amalok, and sort of surprisingly so. Wimbledon Hawkeye, been obviously seen such good effect in Keeneland. Ethical Diamond for Willie Mullins. You've got something for everyone in here. And then you got to get down at a bigger price. But I'm just going through the betting here, sort of the anti-post international market. The El Cordoba, second string for Charlie Appleby. In my opinion, Michael, way too big a price at 28-1.
Huge. Stupid, idiotic, asinine. But this is a horse that's still getting better. I'm only using 3 horses in my pick 4 and 5 here. The 2 Charlies and Mini Hawk. Mini Hawk, I don't know if is as fast and as good as people think she is. They compare it to Enable. I think she's really good. The more I look at it, but I don't know if she's as good as Rebels Romance. I'm going to pick Rebels Romance on top. I looked at it for a long time. Pete and I had talked about it ad nauseum. And finally, I'm like, he's just coming out of one of the best races of his career, and he's 7 damn years old. Like, how is he still doing it? So I'm just like, my heart's going to be in it. My head's in it too. But I'm also going to use... I'm definitely going to use El Cordoba as underneath, because if he improves off his last 2 numbers, he's the now horse, and he could come flying late, and he likes a tight course. And he's surely going to get a better ride than he got last time when he was hung out and didn't get any cover when he needed it. So, yeah, Billy Lochnan is a star on the rise. So if you're looking for value, just look for the other blue horse.
Do you know what? As I threw to you there, Michael, I was like, I'm going to rattle down these horses and I'm going to finish with my shout for El Cordobas. And I know in my heart of hearts, Michael's going to run with me with this. And you did. I just teed it up and you whacked it away. Yes. I felt it. We haven't spoken beforehand, had we? But I just felt it in my heart of hearts.
I actually avoid you. No.
I'm so here for it. But Rebels Romance, I mean, Pete, there's been chat. There was sort of chat this year, obviously, when he came back from Maidan. It's like, is he going to be the horse that he was? You know, he's a 7-year-old, yada, yada, yada. His only defeat since he came back from Maidan was, of course, to Calandagan. We all know what Calandagan's gone on and done. He's just absolutely rock solid. He's rock solid at the top of the market.
I have a feeling we're going to have an opportunity to have our chorus that we were narrowly denied by me before in this spot. Rebels Romance, to me, is a fantastic price. I make them my bet of the meeting because Mini Hawk, as good as she is, she's making the market for this horse who is absolutely laid out for this. We know he thrives under conditions. We know this has been the goal all year long. I know this is not an afterthought for Mini Hawk. It had been talked about, but we know the goal was last time. Rebels Romance is going to move forward. I absolutely love him in this spot. And then, you know, Mini Hawk is going to be in the try unless something wild happens. But Amalok is no joke either. Progressive late season 3-year-old, just didn't see out the 1 3/4 last time, but was traveling really well. I think he is an excellent each way for international viewers and or a terrific exotics underneath use. I think the 4 horses we've talked about are the trifecta. I do think El Cordobas will be running late, and if they do engage too early, you guys are certainly not out to lunch with this idea that he could win. But I really like that quartet as the trifecta. I'll be keying Rebels Romance.
Okay. And what about you, JK? Are you going to make it 3 on for the top spot for Rebels Romance?
Yeah, I'm going to pick Rebels Romance. This is like an easy one for me. In the 2020 Breeders' Cup Betting Challenge, when I got second, I bet $80,000 on doubles with Tarnawa and Enable. I don't care how much money I have. I'll bet it all that Rebels Romance or Mini Hawk win.
That's a bold shout. That's a big shout, bold shout. Like it. Okay. In that case, let us move on to the big one, the Breeders' Cup Classic. And I mean, obviously, the news coming through of no sovereignty, sad times, but let's focus on who's still here. And it's still an absolute cracker with obviously the 1, 2, 3 from last year, Fierceness, Sierra Leone, Forever Young in there, and then throw in the 3-year-old journalism, and it's still a cracker. So who's going to kick us off here with the classic? I think my favorite person is Michael. And so you can go first.
Okay. No small feat here. Let's see. This is so not interesting. I'm a stan for Forever Young. He's a good damn horse. He's reliable. He got a crap ride last year. I think that they're going to be smarter about it. Who rides a horse from the inside up the inside of a 44-4? Do you know what I mean? Like, what is happening? Like, but Ryusei is right. Please, Ryusei, do your homework, do something. Just ride the horse like he's supposed to be ridden, and he'll win. Like, he's the best horse in the race. I had him over Sovereignty. I believe it or not. Like, he ran a 2 3/4 at his best, and he was running through the line, which means there's more there at 1 1/4, and that was at 1 1/8 in the Saudi Cup. He's a serious damn horse. I think he's the best in the race with the worst jockey, which gives me ulcers, but that's okay. You know, like, but you know, so I'm putting him on top. I'm putting him on top, period. In second place, I'm putting Nevada Beach. I think he's going to run big. I think he ran a 5 last time, and he'll improve off it. It's a Baffert 3-year-old in a classic. Have we not learned? Like, you know what I mean? Like, and then in third, I'll put Sierra Leone because he's not going to finish out of the top 3.
With his head down, rattling from the back of the field. We know it. We've been here before, haven't we? Well, he's been a couple of places better before. Okay, so that's your 1, 2, 3 then from Michael. Let's have your 1, 2, 3. Peter, you next.
Well, first of all, I just want to say that Ryusei Sakai has officially crossed Michael Adolphson off his Buddha Day card list. So
I don't think I've ever been on a preview show where it's like, I'm with the best horse in the race and the worst jockey. Just straight in there, straight up, best horse, worst jockey.
I'm with the same horse. And I do agree that the horse has not been seen to his best effect in the 2 North American starts. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't maybe the best ride I've ever seen in the Classic last year. And then you remember the trip from the Derby. I mean, the Derby being the Derby, and him getting, mugged by his cousin throughout the length of the lane, Sierra Leone. That didn't help matters either. I think the Saudi Cup is the best bit of form on offer, and I think he's just a little bit too big of a price in what's a competitive race. I'm going to go with him. I'm certainly not ruling out Fierceness. I think JK will probably talk about him more, so I'll leave that for him. But in terms of a price to get a piece, it's so hard because I love journalism. Journalism is my favorite of these 3-year-olds, but I think at prices right now, Baeza is very, very interesting to get a piece. He's just so progressive. There's reasons to improve. I clapped eyes on him this morning and was really impressed. He's another one I'd put in the mix, but it's still a really interesting classic, even though it's lost some of the luster with Sovereignty out. It's honestly still probably a little bit more of a race to watch than to bet for me, but the bets I will make will include those 3 horses I just talked about.
Fair. That bounces over to you then, JK. Do you want to give Fierceness some love in here?
Yeah, I'm gonna touch on a couple of things everyone else said quickly and then move on. Baeza can't beat journalism. He never has and he won't ever beat him.
Pete's face there is just like, okay, fair.
No,
yeah,
he never has. He's had a lot of opportunities. He's not going to beat him. He's just not going to. While I do agree that he looks interesting on paper, I'm not going to allow myself to be convinced that he's going to run past that horse. I just don't think he will.
Just a price thing for me.
Yeah, no, I mean, and so when Sovereignty was running, I thought Mind Frame was interesting because he was going to be a little bit ignored and he was a little unexposed. He could be, we don't know who he is. Like, right, if he runs a 110 buyer in the Jockey Club Gold Cup when he loses IRAD, then we all love him, but he didn't get a chance to do that, so we don't know. Maybe, so I thought he was interesting. With Sovereignty out, his price is going to drop and everyone else has a much better chance. I don't need him as much now. I think the one long shot I think is interesting. I don't think the horse can win at all. I just want to mention him one time before I wax poetic about Fierceness. Is Antiquarian, I think, hits the super. I think the horse, it might be 4th. It might just be like, oh, suck up, no one gives a damn 4th. But it also could be a 3rd. And oddly, it could be a 2nd. He's not winning, but I think he could get involved. His numbers are not far off. I will say this about Fierceness. If you look at all these horses' races, the 3 most brilliant performances from any of these horses, likely 2 of them come from Fierceness. And I understand his inconsistency, and his last race confuses the shit out of me because the one thing that I always argued was like, he can handle adversity. He's fine. It's just circumstances that got him on the day. But then his last 2 starts prior to the Pacific Classic, I jumped on the damn. Maybe he doesn't want the adversity bandwagon. Then he got the most adversity he's got his entire career, and he runs his lifetime best race. He loves Del Mar, clearly. Fierceness for me, Forever Young in second, Journalism in third, Antiquarian in fourth.
Oh, I love that. Okay, beautifully done, guys. You got me even more rev for the classic. Let's roll on. Let's roll on to the mile. And I am going to put something to all of you and our listeners and viewers out there that obviously a mile that has been a favoured race for the British and the Irish in the past. I am against all the Brits and Irish in this.
Interesting.
That's my big statement. Not the Europeans, because obviously there is a French horse in here, but the Brits and the Irish, a notable speech. I'm against him. The Lion in Winter, I'm against him. I'm against John Quill, and I'm against Kirat as well. Michael, how do you feel about that view?
Trash. No.
Okay. Bitchy Michael.
Honestly, I did my best to evaluate this objectively and just look at the numbers, look at the horses, look at how they're coming in, how they're being trained, how they've been intended. Charlie Appleby has brought 3 horses back in history for a second Breeders' Cup. Master of the Seas after he botched the start 2 years earlier, Rebels Romance in his second, and then Modern Games in his second. All 3 won. He's not messing around with Notable Speech. He's going to draw 2, which is the biggest worry because he's crap out of the gate, but William knows that. William, when I asked him and Charlie, I was like, compare him to one of the 3 sons of Dubawi favorably. Which one do you most like out of those 3? Modern Games or Space Blues? And they said Space. And like, well, that's the exact trip he's going to need. And he's drawn a very similar post to Space Blues, if not the same. So yeah, I just think he's going to have that kind of tip out. And if they're all lined up, even if there's no pace in this race, if they're all lined up at the 8th pole, nobody's touching his tail. Do you know what I mean? Like nobody can out accelerate this horse, period. Goodbye. Game over. Now I will say there is a value in there to look at underneath though. There are horses that have nice little kicks on them that are come up in this race. And they are American. Or coming out of American prep. Program Trading. He's a 9 furlong horse, but he's won on this course, and he looks $1 million out there, and he's drawn extremely well. I don't see him out of the top 4, if not the top 3. And I think John Quill could run well because he got a crap ride last time. Sorry, Dylan, it was bad, and he should have been tucked in. He should have not been tracking Diego Velasquez, who was already 5 lengths behind where he should have been in the race, and then he would have won the race. And he ran 5 1/4. So yeah, John Quill's got a chance to hit the board. But Notable Speech is the best horse in the race. I see your point about Salon, which you're probably going to lean on. He just has to get faster. He is a progressive horse. The only thing that makes Salon win this race is if he wipes out Notable Speech to his left out of the gate.
Notable Speech might wipe out himself the way we've seen him, breaking on these North American courses.
So what is interesting?
Horse in the race, and he's drawn wide.
So what is interesting here is that I'm against Notable Speech because he's just let me down ever since obviously 12 months ago. Like I was all aboard him, and he's let me down, and he's let me down multiple days since, when in my opinion there has been a couple of times where I would have liked more from him. Obviously he was back to winning ways when we last saw him, but ultimately he's let me down. And now of course you look back at his 3-year-old year. I don't want to go into all the details, but obviously you reflect on that now and you wonder if that form was as strong a form as you originally thinking it was at the time. And all of a sudden 12 months ago it's like Notable Speech, woohoo, just wins, doesn't. And 12 months later, I'm like, no, once bitten, twice shy, kiddo. Like, it's a no from me. But obviously with Michael's stat, he's just wheeled out there. If you're a big betting person, then that's not the way to be, because 3 times your man's brought them back, 3 times they've won. So actually I shouldn't. Yeah, Michael, what were you going to say with your little finger out?
No. One thing that's unknown here that people aren't paying attention to, he's gotten into his form, Notable Speech, the last 6 months. He had a rider change in the morning on who's getting on top of him in the last half of the year, and it's Colm O'Donoghue, a phenomenal multiple Group 1 winning jockey who now works for Charlie Appleby. He has been getting on this horse every morning, and he says the horse is right, and I am not going to doubt him.
Good info. I like that. JK, you were kind of nodding and agreeing and doing a lot of finger pointing and at the camera as well in regards to Notable Speech. Is it just straightforward? He's the best horse in this?
Yeah, I mean, Vanessa, you'll get lost here for a second and a half. Michael will probably pick this one up. But a lot of times we forget that horses grow up a lot from 3 to 4. Frosted was an average 3-year-old, sensational 4-year-old. Gunrunner, average 3-year-old, one of the best 4-year-olds we've ever seen. When you allow these horses to grow up, you can forgive them for when they let you down when they were 3. The way that Notable Speech finished in that race in France, I don't think I've ever seen a 4-legged animal go that fast. Like
it was like 10 and change. It was crazy on the clock.
Like if I can see it visually, he's cooking. He won the race in Woodbine. I also, like I said, I listened to a lot of different people talk about different situations. I've heard 7 different people talk about how long his campaign was last year as a 3-year-old, and how this one they worked backwards from this, to Michael's point about Charlie's not going to let you can beat him once, you ain't beating him twice. I'll tell you this: if Rebels Romance or Mini Hawk win, if Fierceness and Forever Young win, and Notable Speech wins, then we're all going to change our flights because I'll win the BC.
Oh, don't excited. Oh God. Okay, well then that'll have me cheering for Notable Speech. That will. I'm Team JK, so that will have me cheering if we're in that position. Pete, do you have anything else to add, or is it
very quickly? This is a whole multiple thoughts in your head at once type of a race for me. In that, I absolutely think Notable Speech is the most likely winner. But for me, he's more of a 7-2 shot who's going to be 2-1. So that's going to make me look at some of these other live runners. I think Salon is the most interesting one. Progressive late season 3-year-old, took a big step up last time. We don't know how he's going to do with these conditions, but there's a chance he'll handle them fine. And I think a repeat of the last, slight improve of the last, and he can win. But this is a race where I want so many runners. I think Lion and Winter might be really suited by the way this race is run. I respect Johannes. I respect Rhetorical. I respect Jonquil. I'll be messing around with all of them. Not one of my stronger opinions of the meeting, but a race just so exciting and prospecting. I'll be rooting for Michael and JK to cash their various wagers. I won't be upside down on Notable Speech. Let's put it that way. But I'm going to try to get a little cute.
Okay, let's move on to what I think we've early in the show ascertained is not everyone's favorite race, the Dirt Mile. The Dirt Mile. Oh, look at that! The man.
I was going to say he didn't bring one for everybody. Come on, I learned that in kindergarten. Thank you.
So to be clear, to divert for 30 seconds, I was invited to this lunch. If anybody's watching this and can see the envision, I was invited to this lunch, but I was like, no, lads, I just need to do some prep and make sure I'm well prepared for the podcast. I want to be ahead of my game. And the lads were like, what? Just come for lunch.
Jovina's down there by herself.
If you've been watching In the Money Media for any amount of time, you know this is our prep. Cheers, brother.
Yeah. Oh, look at that. Looks filthy as well. Drinking pints in the loo. Terrific. Okay. Everybody's least favorite race of the day. Nice sauce, top of the market here in the Dirt Mile for Bob Baffert, Team Bob Baffert. Should we keep this like relatively short and sweet? I don't know. I feel like Pete, I don't know. Do we have loads to say?
Yeah, I can keep this very, very short and sweet. You know, coming into the race was maybe trying to find a chink in the armor of Nisos. The market signal is strong. Clapped eyes on him this morning. Looked like an absolute unit. I'm going to keep this real simple. Nisos just wins.
Oh, very simple. Very straightforward. Michael, do you have quite a simplistic views in this?
I think it's the most, I hate this race, but it's in general, like as a macro sense, but like in this race in particular, this field is the best we've seen, or at least the most complex in a while, because you have you have brilliance that once was in White Barrio, and you have brilliance that were just waiting to pop in Nisos. And this should be Nisos' proper coming out party. This should be his moment to shine and get ready and become next year's Saudi Cup winner. Do you know what I mean? Like this is his deal. I think he will win. I put him on top. I think Full Serrano is going to give him every bit of a fight. I think White Barrio will be sticking around for a while and giving him hell. I think Goal Oriented will be up there giving him hell up front. But I'm gonna put Nisos on top. One horse I am gonna play on in each way in the UK markets at a fat 40-1 is Chancer McPatrick.
Agreed.
To come up, pick up the paces, and get a nice third. Like, I just think he's going to run a big race.
Okay, but in the third spot, both boys voting for Nisos in the top spot. JK, anything else to add?
Yeah, I mean, I think Nisos is going to be tough. I'll definitely have him. I'll build things around him. I think he's the most likely winner. I think he's going to be cranked and ready to rock for this race, considering I would imagine what is a lot of stallion deals that are pending for him to win this race. But I'm going to pick a horse on top that I have legitimately never picked, like ever. Like he's run 16 times, and I swear to you, I've never picked him once. And he's actually been a punchline almost every time he's ever run, even since his biggest conquest. I didn't pick him in the Lake Washita or whatever the hell however you pronounce that. I'm picking the Kentucky Derby winner, Mystic Dan. I think the break has kind of hit him between the eyes. I worry that there's a couple of speed types in here. Shout out Golden Sense, the sire of Mystic Dan. I'm not trying to be – look, I'm not like betting my whole bankroll on the horse. I'm just saying I think he's going to run much better than at least maybe I think it's cute because I've always hated the horse so much, and maybe no one else is that shocked by it. But I think he's going to run okay.
Who are you and what have you done with Jonathon Kinchen?
I think he's going to run
there's nothing better than a man that can just reflect and, be like, okay, I've always hated this horse, but today I don't hate this horse. I like that. I
just think he's going to run okay. And I actually think White Barrio is going to run all right as well, too. I hate the reverse Knicks go is what I'm calling this, where you win the Classic and then you run the dirt mile. I prefer it anyway. But, look, I think he'll run okay in here. I think he's still got some good races. His Pegasus was sensational.
Okay, right. Last one, team. Filly and Mare Turf. Last one to wrap things up. Let's send everyone home with a winner here. See the Fire in there for Andrew Balding. Love her. Drawn in 14. Yikes. Cinderella's Dream. Lots to like about her. Gazora in there. She feels pretty. And then you're down to Diamond Rain, which drum roll, please, Peter.
Yeah, that's who I'm going with in this spot. I mean, I think
that's the horse from earlier today.
The price is – and that's who that was, who you were saying?
Yeah.
Oh, that's even better. Oh, that's for those that didn't see our other video, Vanessa – I'll let you characterize it. But it was basically one of those horses that walks by and you say, wow, and we didn't know who it was, and we promised we'd reveal it on this show. And that just happens to be my top pick. I mean, I love that. This horse is on an improving pattern, clearly likes American racing, had that tricky trip the last time. And now that it's the Vanessa, oh my goodness horse, I mean, double the bet.
Okay, yeah. I mean, just, to flesh that. Yeah, basically exactly that. I just saw her this morning. I couldn't see her number cloth. She was over on the turf. I didn't see her properly. But when she sort of cantered past, I was like, who on earth is that? And I just couldn't work it out from the Appleby runners. And then I was just obviously having a mind blank. And it turned out to be Diamond Rain, JK.
Yeah, look, for me, Vanessa, and this is shout out to the guy in 4E next to me who was looking over my shoulder wondering why I was watching some bearded man and then a sweaty bald man on TV on my computer. But that sweaty bald man was Michael Adolphson, and his point he made about Cinderella's Dream got me all warm and fuzzy feeling about how I was going to approach this race, where I liked her last year. And for someone who doesn't pay as much attention to European racing, when I saw her last 2 runs, I was like, she's not really coming into this the right way. And you got to check out our Monster podcast where Michael basically gave this whole dissertation about how people are stupid for not understanding how her excuse for running poorly in those 2 races and how he wanted everyone to hate her so that he get a better price. He convinced me. I'll use She Feels Pretty as well. I'm a little bit of a homer when it comes to her. But the problem, I think, is that even Pete said this, is that Pete didn't love Diamond Rain coming into the race, but he earned respect for her during it. I look at that the other way. He didn't like her, so I lose a little bit of respect for She Feels Pretty. I'll still use her, though, but Cinderella's Dream would be my top choice. I'm hoping that I'm sitting where I need to be sitting in the contest. I don't want to have to bet this race. I just want someone else to lose their money. But I'll pick Cinderella's Dream on top.
I'd like to point out that Michael was sweaty in that video because he lives in Dubai and was coming back from a run, whereas we're sweaty in this video because we're sitting in the sun drinking beer. Okay, I'd like to give credit where credit is due.
Okay, Michael. Well, we probably don't need the dissertation all over again, but that is a pretty. I think it's going to be a straightforward Cinderella's Dream nod then.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I'm just trying to increase ratings with all this, you know.
They are increasing. Let me tell you, they are flying up.
Okay, so I don't see a reason to go against Cinderella's Dream. I know that it's a slightly tougher field than last year, but what got her beat last year were two things. A little bit too cautious of a ride from William, who's a little bit worried about her stamina, and in the end, they found out there was no worry at all. So she got a little bit caught behind horses, sticking to the rail the shortest way around. And Flavian probably had the best ride of the day on Moira, who was probably the third best horse in the race, maybe fourth, and just got it done. So, you know, I think and 2 strides after the wire, she's in front. You know what I mean? Like it was a very frustrating day. And William still talks about it. Like he just knew she was the best on the day. This is her last run. That does worry me a little bit that maybe they're just going out with her. But also Charles doesn't give a damn about that. You know what I mean? Like he's here to win. And I think she'll run big. She's 5-1 in the UK market. I'm only gonna use in my pick 4s and pick 5 here. I'm gonna go 4 deep in here. I'm gonna use both Applebee's. I'm gonna use Bedtime Story, and I'm gonna use Village Voice because I'll be damned if I get knocked out of a pick 4 or 5 by Chad Brown. And plus he's pretty confident in her. But like I'm gonna toss She Feels Pretty and See the Fire from the outside. See the Fire is the best filly in the race. They all line up and have on a straight 1 3/8 course, right? She's probably gonna win, right? I think she's in too much trouble.
3 turns for an outside draw is a very different deal.
And She Feels Pretty. I don't think she'll stay 11 furlongs. Period. She's a Caraconte, more than ready mare. I think she's bred to be a 9 furlong filly, and that's exactly what she is. So, you know, for me, like, I mean, there are other horses in there, and there's going to be plenty of pace in here. It's going to be very dynamic. I think it's going to be more spread out than last year. I completely see Cinderella's Dream. If she is ready, if she's on the day, her 110% self, if she's coming in, she wins the race. She's just that good. If she comes back to that Falmouth form mops the floor with these horses. It's over. Boom. Over. Done. Like it is. She's the best in the race.
So Notable Speech will have added to that amazing stat you wheeled out earlier about Charlie Appleby returning with horses. He'll have made it 4 from 4. And then Cinderella's Dream will make it 5 from 5, basically. Just upping that stat. That's how that's going to go. Okay. That wraps it up, guys. Done and dusted. Look at that. Pete, are you going to do the sign off?
Let me throw it out. And I just want to say thank you so much. I mean, you know, we've done 87,000 podcasts together, and this is so not that it's not fun when it's just us, but to have you, Vanessa, just doing a fantastic job keeping the 3-ring circus going. And Michael just adds so much with his passion and knowledge for this amazing subject. Just want to thank you guys so much. And of course, JK as well. Without him, you know, who knows? I might have given up on this 3 years ago. So it's great to be here. We want to thank everybody for supporting In the Money Media. We're so close to getting to that 15,000 subscriber mark on YouTube. The YouTube numbers are up in a big way. Go to YouTube, subscribe to the In the Money YouTube channel. Have you two subscribed? Do you have that bell checked and all that stuff? I hope. All right, Michael, yes. Vanessa, no. Vanessa, subscribe to the channel. Everybody out there, do it as well. Leave us a comment, too. Let us know what you thought of this show and what you want to see from us next. But that's going to be it for now. We'll thank our sponsors one more time. Spendthrift Farm, morningline.io/ITM, Millridge Farm. I'm forgetting one. Oh, Twin Spires. Play the Breeders' Cup Betting Challenge on there or qualify for the KDBC. This show's been a production of In the Money Media. I'm Peter Thomas Fornatale. Oh, one more thank you. Producer Ray doing an amazing job all Breeders' Cup season long getting this content out there in the world. And with that, may you win all your photos.
A dynasty in motion, reshaping the sport's greatest tradition, channeling the legends of his line and surpassing them. 4 of the last 6 Derby winners carry his genes. A Golden Son, a Horse of the Year. Another chapter written beneath those iconic spires. Derby dreams fulfilled for the titans of our industry. From authentic to sovereignty, a legacy both real and supreme. Into mischief.